hours before the actor Alec Baldwin fatally shot a cinematographer on the New Mexico set of Rust with a prop gun, a half dozen camera crew workers walked off the set to protest working conditions. The camera operators and their assistants were frustrated by the conditions surrounding the low-budget film, including complaints about long hours, long commutes, and collecting their paychecks, according to 3 people familiar with the matter who are not authorized to comment. We're also learning, I believe we have this story, it's from People. The gun Alec Baldwin fired on Rust set contained a live round, Prop Masters Union says. Now, this is, normally I don't care too much about the pop culture stuff. It's not policy. But this is Alec Baldwin, an overtly political actor, a violent and angry individual online who has been a very prominent activist, whether you like it or not, or you think it's silly, he has been. He is, look, many of these people, I don't want to say him directly, but I'd assume him, along with many others, are anti-gun. And this is how it manifests. They want to play with weapons on set, and they don't want to take responsibility for it. So this is a gun issue. It's a political issue. And now I'm seeing all of these people tweet at me, it's not Alex Baldwin's fault. No. I said it's more than 100% his fault, because not only at the time, when I said that, if the gun is given to you, it is in your hand, you're responsible for what comes out of it, period. That doesn't mean he's a murderer. It just means he's responsible. It could be negligence, it could be manslaughter, or it could be accidental, but it's on him. The other issue is now that we're learning that the crew had been describing gun safety issues already, if he was not aware of that when he was handling a weapon, his fault.
Yeah. So here's my one question as an ignorant Canadian. I took a firearms safety course, but when I saw the term misfire, I just asked the question, is it not firing when it's supposed to, or is it firing by accident?
I looked this up. A misfire means that it doesn't fire at all. Then there's a thing called a hang fire, where it doesn't fire for about 30 seconds and then it fires.
Okay, that's interesting.
I don't know about if it just goes off without even touching it, if that's also considered a misfire. I couldn't figure that out.
Well, another thing we have to add to this discussion is that if someone knows gun safety, if someone knows how to use guns, if someone is properly trained on how to use guns, they could prevent a lot of these incidences from happening, because hey, I got a real gun, I got real bullets, and you know the difference between fake bullets, dummy bullets, fake guns, prop guns, and real guns. So this is a huge tragedy. We're hearing other reports that Alex said, "Why was I given a live gun after this incident?" So again, I have to kind of say,
I think he
here,
said hot. Didn't he say
hot? Yeah, I believe something along those lines. The reports are still coming in. The police say that they're still investigating all of this, but it is very prominent that a lot of the people who are the most anti-gun don't know anything about guns. Well, and that's something that should be stopped immediately, and people should take some time and learn about them, because these incidences could be prevented with just information and knowledge, but sadly a lot of the times we can't even talk about these issues.
So I tweeted that this is Alec Baldwin's fault. I didn't say he should go to prison. I didn't say, in one tweet, I have expressed that, he should be charged to a certain degree. There should be an investigation, I'll put it that way. But I get all of these lefties, these because they love Alec Baldwin, because he is in their tribe, they're like, it's the prop master's fault. And I'm like, prop master wasn't holding a gun. It's crazy to me. People then said, so Tim actually believes in more gun control now? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it is the two-way advocates who are the ones demanding responsibility for gun owners, not the government imposing restrictions on the people. So,
well, we'll just contrast it to the Kyle Rittenhouse case. I mean, Kyle Rittenhouse actually knew how to use a gun, only used it in self-defense purposes, and they were eager for him to be prosecuted with every imaginable crime, even crimes that didn't apply to him under the constitutional circumstances. And yet here you have a celebrity, a high-profile personality, overtly political over the last decade, who chose to be very anti-gun, who killed somebody because he didn't have basic training. Yep. And that's it.
That's right.
I don't even understand how they have a live gun on a set. I appreciate it's a prop, and that to me means
it's a real gun.
There should never be anything near bullets in it. So is it shooting a shell of the blank?
Bullets are banned from these kinds of movies. So how did this happen? I mean, there's a lot of accusations about how the workers were treated here. There's a lot of accusations about scabs.
Getting crazy.
There's a lot of implications with people just being brought in out of nowhere. So I mean, this happened before. It's not like this never happened before. This happened to Brandon Lee. Bruce Lee's son was shot and killed because of another accident where someone had a live bullet on the production facility. So they made sure to ban all live bullets from production facilities, and this happened again.
I don't think it's an accident. I'm not saying it was an intentional murder or anything like that, but when I'm thinking about this story, I got my biases, all right? And I'll tell you one of them. We've got some replica guns here. We've got airsoft, We have actual mock replicas for like basic training purposes. It's like a piece of metal that just slides back, doesn't really do much. And I was just explaining to the Viva and Barnes before we started the show, like I'll ask someone like, hey, the gun safety rules, right? Never point at anybody, finger off the trigger, the gun is always loaded. And I'll hand them the weapon, and the first thing they always do is just like, oh wow, and I'm like, your finger's on the trigger and you're pointing it at people. You see, you failed the test when you do that. So they say, oh, but Alec Baldwin's got training and he's safe. My assumption is that he was goofing around. He did not respect that weapon. He clearly did not check it. If they're saying it was a live bullet, that means he didn't open it up and say, you got to be handed okay, if you're getting a revolver, the revolver should be open, pointed down, handed to you by the armorer of the set, the prop master who says, this is a Colt 45 loaded with 45, a 45 long Colt revolver. We are closing the revolver now. When you pull the trigger, it will fire a live round. He's handed a gun he doesn't look at. He doesn't open, he doesn't check. And then it misfires, whatever that means.
I'll play devil's advocate because I really don't like Alec Baldwin. But setting aside the politics, his overt, hateful rhetoric, irrelevant for the time being. If I'm Alec Baldwin and I'm a Hollywood actor and someone says, this is a prop for a scene, here you go, take it. Look, I don't even know how I'm supposed to know that it's a real.
It's easy with a little bit of training.
Hold on. Let's make a legal argument out of it. A legal argument out of it. I hand Ian a loaded gun. And I say, don't worry, Ian, it's not loaded. You can shoot Viva. And then he does. Will Ian get in trouble?
At that point, a loaded gun, a real gun, I would say yes.
But
Rob, you'll back me. But if you say it's a prop, I don't even have a reason to know that it's a real gun. I would say you're the one who's going to be guilty of setting up something cataclysmic. Because if I have no reason to believe it's a real gun.
Do you think a court would tell, like if I say this is a prop gun, don't worry, go ahead and point it at him and pull the trigger. The court's going to be like, no, it's not Ian's fault. He was just pointing a gun and pulling the trigger.
The problem is
someone gave him bad info.
If Alec Baldwin was a 20-year-old actor who'd never done anything before, that might work. But the problem is he's been around for too long. So he does know exactly what a prop gun is. I mean, if I was looking at prosecuting him, I would be looking at that experience, and that would be the problem.
It's not just prop guns.
Sorry. There was a comment from someone, I think one of the someone who's worked with Baldwin who said they worked with him before. They knew he was well-trained and very safe. That's actually a really good point. You could argue there's no way he wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
There's also a difference between blanks and real bullets. You could tell the difference just by looking at them. Blanks obviously don't have that top part and that projectile that goes in. The
bullet?
The bullet. So obviously the two are very different. And if someone, just checked, someone just looked at it, and especially if he's just picking up a firearm, I wish he would have checked.
But here's the other thing. My understanding is they never actually point the guns at people anyway.
That's the other bottom line. It's like even with my kid, we tell him not to point the Nerf dart gun at people because you just don't do it out of habit. I'm only giving him the benefit of the doubt that if he has no reason to believe it's a real gun holding live rounds, and I don't even know why that would be on a set, how it gets there in the first place, and you may have cumulative responsibility here, one aspect of negligence coupled with another. How did it get there?
Everybody can get sued from a civil perspective.
I'm kind of wondering about a criminal element here.
Sabotage is an interesting, creative thought. Because
I didn't even think about that. You've got a crew that's walking off protesting, saying the conditions are bad. You've also probably got low-budget people who aren't being, properly vetted. Someone put a live bullet in that gun.
Yeah, I mean,
why?
Workers were sending out messages on social media saying things like, quote, I am literally on the show in New Mexico with him, and the producers on that movie are treating the local crew like effing dog crap. I'm not going to family-friendly show, so I can't say that. But that's exactly what one of the workers, a part of this crew, said, and he goes on and he details a lot of bad conditions.
I'm doing a little bit of speculation here too, but we were asking. Everybody's been asking like, what kind of gun was it? What kind of round was it? Here's my best guess because we don't have all the full details. We got this from IMDb. A 13-year-old boy left to fend for himself and his younger brother following the death of their parents in 1880s Kansas. All right. Well, what kind of gun would they be using in a movie about the 1880s? I'd imagine it's going to be a revolver. I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I'd imagine that he was armed with a 45 long Colt. And so I guess what happened was the single bullet hit the woman, and then it went through her and then hit the director as well. And he didn't have life-threatening injuries. He went to the hospital. Some people were speculating that it was a blank and it shattered the camera, sending shrapnel into her or something like that. But now we have the article from People. Apparently, Union was saying it was a live round.
And a live round that went through one person and then hit a second person that went to the hospital.
And so Luke mentioned this. Luke was like, it must have been a 45. And I was like, a 45?
It went through one person.
I know.
So, I mean, there needs to be a lot of power.
And I'm
behind
asking
that.
myself, why would the gun be pointed at the cinematographer in any case?
Right.
When I first heard the story, I thought maybe it was the stunt person involved, but why would the gun have been pointed at a cinematographer?
I'm thinking he was shooting towards camera. She was right on the camera, and he was shooting like right past it. And the director was behind her on the monitor watching. So they were both there in the line. And he was just like, you don't even pay attention to the crew when you're acting. It's like they're not there pretty much. And so that was probably going through his mind.
I think that's a good possibility. Ian's point. Often when people are learning how to shoot, when they grip the gun incorrectly, they could squeeze their hand, causing the handgun to move in other directions. So what I've been told when I've gone to these classes is that people will typically pull down. When they pull the trigger, their hand makes the barrel point down.
Yeah.
But some people will pull left. So if Alec Baldwin has the gun and he squeezes his hand, not knowing how to use the weapon, and it causes the barrel to shift to the left and she's to his left, he hits her.
One thing that's concerning is they call it a misfire. A misfire, by definition, means that it never went off. So it wasn't a misfire. It was maybe a hanging fire, or maybe it just got fired accidentally, which I don't think is considered a misfire.
I still have great difficulty understanding why there's a live bullet in a gun on set of a movie.
That's why it sounds criminal.
There's an interesting aspect given the tweets set on, the ambiance on the set, the environment on the set. It sounds like there might have been something else, like potential sabotage.
Wow.
But I would, before blaming Alec Baldwin, in as much as I loathe him as a political character, I would say there should never be bullets on a set, and it'll be everybody.
That rule already exists.
Yeah. So I don't know,
if
man.
If it wasn't followed, then there's going to be some production companies that's going
It's why didn't he know? I mean, that's the problem.
right,
He's
right.
done this a lot. How did he not know there was
So
something
do you think
wrong?
criminal?
I mean, he should be under criminal investigation without doubt.
People are saying manslaughter.
Civil easily against everybody involved.
Against everybody, yeah. But criminal, you'd have to investigate. And you'd want to investigate everything connected to her, whether there could be a backstory here, beyond the union backstory.
I mean, look, I don't want to jump the shark on our speculation, but having an affair,
you would
knows?
Definitely look at that.
Right,
And you'd have
right.
to look at that.
Right.
There's a very interesting video of a crew with Will Smith looking at replica and fake alleged firearms. And you see one of the crew members pick it up and point it directly at Will Smith. Will Smith smacks it out of his hands,
Yeah,
grabs
I
it
read
out,
that, yeah.
takes out the magazine. I saw this going
a while
around
ago.
on Instagram. Takes out the firearm, puts it in the safe direction, takes out the magazine, and of course checks it to make sure that there's nothing in there, and then hands it back to the crew member, being like, "These people aren't following basic gun safety rules here."
Yeah, he was
but
fast.
he was taking it seriously on a movie set, because a lot of these prop guns are usually just real guns with blank bullets.
check it out. We got it. This is this was Bad Boys, and so you can see it.
That right is going to happen now. That guy points it right
Look
in
at
his
that.
face.
Boom.
Smacks it down, grabs it out. Checks the clip.
Well,
of the magazine.
this might
And then
look like
he does it right. Thank you, Will.
and then he goes like the ends. Yeah,
that looks like it might have been a setup promo for the
Right.
movie. That's that's
Could have
good.
been.
That's great,
But
though.
what was the other thing I was going to say? I forgot now. It'll come back in a
But
second.
I mean, he's done it too long not to have known something was wrong. So he had to be out of it.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
what I was going to say. That it's for everybody out there. They should know also that having blanks in there doesn't necessarily make it 100% safe either. From the Brandon Lee story,
No, that's I think Hexam.
which is the one that had the leftover
it was-
shell from the blank.
No. The blank. So blanks kill you. A blank will kill you. People. So I've got a revolver. I've got the Governor, Smith & Wesson Governor, and I went to a range. I brought some weapons. Asked the guys give me the lowdown. Tell me what for. And one of the things I said is don't hold the revolver with your hands where the cylinder is, because the gases in the explosion come out sideways. So you'll hurt yourself. That's just the concussive force of the round. A blank itself has enough power to kill you at close range. So that story, I guess, is like a 1984 guy on the set of a TV show had a gun with a blank in it, and he just took himself out.
The Brandon Lee thing, they had dummy rounds, which are improvised from live cartridges. They have the powder removed, but in his case, they didn't remove the powder.
Okay.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.